Random thought. Do you wipe your social media of pictures of your ex after you break up? And I ask this because I saw the story this week. Michael B. Jordan wipes Lori Harvey from his IG. And I'm like, and? This is news because... But then it got me thinking. You're on social media, you're not on IG all the time, so you don't post a whole lot on IG, but you do Facebook, you do Twitter. Do you ever post someone you're with, and then if you break up, do you act like they never existed?
No. I'm trying to think. Because I don't post pictures with girls on social media unless it's like something serious. It's not just like this is second date, whatever. But if it's something serious, I will. And like it's been relationships I've been in where I've had pictures up, but I never deleted them. Now I might have blocked somebody on social media. I might have done that. I don't want to see that shit no more. Yeah. But no, I haven't really done it, and I don't think no one's ever said anything. And if I was dating somebody and they're like, hey, who is this girl? I'm like, okay, look at the date when that was posted. That was 2013. It's been 9 years. Yeah, we're either just friends or we used to date years ago, but we remain social friends. But no, I haven't gone through, deleted. And I think it probably depends if Michael B. Jordan was hurt. So I get it. Like if you get hurt or someone does you dirty, I get why you would want to delete all those, previous pictures, but I haven't had to delete anything.
No, I'm right there with you, man. Because like you, I'm not the person that posts just, and this is a whole nother discussion we have another time, because people like to post, they've been on one date and they post the pictures of that person already, 2-3 dates, and all of a sudden it's like, Jesus Christ, how long have y'all known each other? You got 400 pictures of y'all up together. I've never been that person. Before Issa Rae came up with private till permanent, that's what my wife and I did. We were private until permanent. I wasn't hiding her in the wings and she wasn't hiding me in the wings. But you're right. Any exes from the past that happen to make it onto my social media, there's no need to erase them. I mean,
yeah,
it's there. I mean, it's there. It's a thing in the past. And if you go back 9 years looking for that, you had a great response. Like, why are you going back? That was such and such. That's great. I just go one word: stalker.
But it's funny, like you add people on social media and all of a sudden they start liking stuff from like 10 years ago, like going all the way back. You're like, wow, that's kind of creepy, but see, whatever.
You and I think the same there. You and I both think that that's creepy. I think stalker when I see that. If you like 10 pictures in a row, I've always been like, stalker. And some people go, oh no, that's showing love. No, it's not.
Yeah. I mean, you could look. You don't have to like it. Just kind of look and be like, oh, okay, this is what he did 10 years ago. This is when he was doing this. But to go through and actively like and heart stuff from like 10 years ago and make your way back to present day, that's a little creepy. That's a little creepy.
Well, they're trying to get the life story. At least the IG life story.
Yeah. Trying to see the growth, right? But no, I wouldn't. I haven't deleted any, removed people or...
Here's a real question then. Let's take it a step further. What about those pictures they sent you? Or those videos they sent you? Do you delete those? Since you don't wipe shit from your social media, what about from your phone, your personal media?
I mean, it depends. It depends on what the pictures or videos were. Now, sometimes maybe you might want to save a video, but it's kind of like, you might want to go watch one episode of one of your favorite shows from years ago. You don't want to watch the whole season, but there's this one episode that's your favorite, and you just want to keep that just for nostalgia purposes.
What if that person got married? Would you still keep those pictures? You're like, well, they were single then.
She used to be something back in the day. Woo, I dodged a bullet.
Oh my God. Welcome to the show. I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Yeah, like this one. We are those people. We've been having these conversations since college.
Yes, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts, episode 90. Be sure to like, subscribe, and definitely leave a comment.
Yes, and please do go ahead, like, subscribe, tell a friend to like and subscribe, because Taylor's made another deal with the devil. We're about 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks away, probably about a week and a half away, right? Is what we are? Yeah. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah. Hell, I can't tell. 4th of July is right around the corner. But here's the deal. If we reach out 2,000 subscribers by the start of the next Married at First Sight season, which is season 15, then he's agreed to go ahead and review season 15, which is San Diego. I've seen somebody already say like, hey, Tell, as long as we get close, you should do it. And right now we're just a little over 200 away. So we just need a couple people to grab a couple people, bring them to the party, and let's get it going so that we're ready to go and on July 6th when the new season drops. So tell them to hit the subscribe button. They can hit the bell for notifications so that you can find out when we drop new content. But definitely need to get that 2K. We got a little bit of time to get it done.
But what did I say a few weeks ago? I believe in the numbers. We average about 20 to 30 new subscribers a week. And we're 200 short.
We've been a little bit above that.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Have you signed up for your ex-throwing already?
All your prayer warriors or whatever, maybe they have, I think God has some bigger things to worry about than us doing season 15. So that's why the prayer warriors, your stuff is not being heard.
He's saying God's a little preoccupied.
Yeah, he's like, I'm dealing with something right now. I got some bigger things I got to deal with. So y'all hold that.
Well, like, subscribe. Let's get to that mark so we can do Married at First Sight season 15 San Diego. Just tell a friend, tell another friend to go ahead. Click, click. Hit that button. Let's get back to the show. Speaking of more serious things to deal with, man, a lot of big things happening this week, and the biggest. We got, I don't know if you were surprised by this, but we were given the trailer, the movie trailer, that this was going to happen this week, and sure enough, Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade last week.
We had got a little sample of this from the leak that happened. Right now, in my mind, I said, you know what, this is going to go to the Supreme Court, but it's still not going to get overturned because we haven't seen something this huge get overturned, in our history. And so I was quite a little surprised. But the interesting thing is and I think for men and women, it hits different. For me, I remember I'm working and I get the alert. I'm just like, oh, dang. And then you look on social media and see people commenting. And then I had a meeting I do a bi-weekly huddle with my whole team. And it's about 115 or so people, 90% are women. And so I get on this call. It's a Teams video call. And, we have our agenda, I have my little slide deck of what I'm going to talk about. But I'm looking at all these intelligent, smart, beautiful women that are some single, some are mothers, some have daughters. And I was just like, hey, I kind of got to go off script and just kind of addressed it because it's just crazy that in 2022, guns have more rights than women.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It just blows my mind that this is where we are. It blows my mind that there are not only men who vote for this and support this, but that there are women who support this. And it's just a crazy world. But, my mind Friday was just mainly thinking about how women were feeling and really just taking the time to listen and either read or just listen to what people had to say rather than me give my opinion. And I just couldn't imagine having to deal with that,
And it's the thing about it is it's not just because you'll hear others. Don't have unprotected sex. Don't have sex outside of marriage. That's not what this is about. And I think that's it. I think that's where people miss the boat. It's not that the women that are speaking out about this are saying, well, I want to be able to get pregnant and abort the baby if I want to. They're saying, I want to have that choice. I want to have, and I think that's where people miss it. When you're being told you can't do something.
Right.
It's amazing we just got out of quarantine and people forgot already what it was like to be locked inside and they were losing their shit. Yeah. Like, oh my God, what you mean I can't go outside? You can't tell me to wear a mask. Why in the country of you can't tell me what to do, do you feel you have the right to tell people what to do? And that's exactly what's happening here. I mean, you and I have said this many times before. If men could get pregnant, abortions would be just like liquor stores, right around the corner.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go.
Yeah. I mean, you're 100% right that during the pandemic era of mask mandates, and it was my body, my choice. You can't tell me what to do with my body because
wow, I almost forgot that was the whole wow, I forgot
that was the thing.
Wow.
You can't make me take the vaccine. It's my body, it's my choice.
Wow.
And I think the difference between the two that impacted people with penises, and not only just women. This issue with abortion, it's huge because you're right. It's not the I'm pro-choice. I'm not saying I'm all for abortions and we should be able to have them all day long. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm saying it's that woman's choice to decide if that's what she wants to do. And especially in the case of if she potentially die giving birth to the child, incest, rape, like those three right there. And the fact that we're trying to make these women, treat them like they're second class and say that they can't do these things. It's dangerous. And not only do you see this, it's always, I believe all the things we see in politics, it's a magic trick, right?
Yes.
It's like they're showing you this, but the trick is over here. You don't see what's going on over here. They're just showing you the abracadabra right in front of you. And so this is the beginning. This is not just, okay, now everything's going to be chill except for this issue of women. And you heard, Clarence Thomas, come out, talk about, gay rights. That's potentially going after things. Who knows where it can go? I'm sure he's not going to touch, interracial marriage. He's not going to touch that one.
That would affect him.
He's not going to touch that one. But
well, not only just him, but then you had what was his name, Senator John Cornyn, who said he wanted to go after Plessy versus Ferguson and the Brown v. Board of Education, and it's that's where this begins, right? It starts here. If we can overturn Roe v. Wade, which has been in place for so long, then everything else is on the table. And I think let's just make it, you're going to have the separate states of America in a minute, because that's what it is, because they're going, get the government out, but then the government still regulate and say, no, it's going to be states governments now.
Yeah.
Government is government. And I think that's what people seem to forget in this. But it's just, if we've got the majority, we're able to control what we want, our agenda, then this is what we want to do. And that's what's happening right now. And it's the bully factor. And the Republicans have played a long game. I've watched a lot of senators now say, oh, well, Kavanaugh, I feel betrayed because when I spoke to him, he said this. Come on. We knew. Watching from the sidelines. So you can't tell me you were silly enough and stupid enough to not see it when you were sitting in his face talking to him. Mm-hmm. We saw this from afar. We saw this coming.
Yeah, and I totally can see how people lose faith and trust in the democratic process. Because if you look at what all women had to fight for to get to this point, they voted, they did things the right way, they tried to raise and teach their kids this, they donated to Planned Parenthood, they were trying to help people and still educate people, to say they've done it all the right way, and then to lose this right that they've had, even though they've been doing it the right way. I totally see people's frustration and lack of faith in the democratic process. And so right now, everybody's saying, get out and vote. Of course, I believe in voting, but at some point you want to say, like, does it help?
Right.
Because look what happened. And I think about, your prayer warriors. Does prayer help? I look at this, I'm like, okay, well, so many prayers have been just revoked that people prayed for centuries. And now it's all been revoked. So it's the helplessness that I think some people feel, and the helplessness I feel as a male ally to the situation. It's like, how do shit, man, I just don't even know. I mean, it's just it's still hard to digest. It's only been a couple days, but it's just hard to digest.
Indeed, and like I said, with this being the first wall broken down, this the first brick falling in that wall. There's more coming, so keep your eyes out because there's a lot more coming. This is just the beginning of what's next, and I think that's the part. And then not wasting any time because Clarence Thomas came right out in his decision. He mentions this. Then of course here come the tweets next about and it's like it's coming. There's more coming, and I hope we're awake and watching this. And not being woke and overly woke, but awake to see what's happening and paying attention because at some point it's going to require some action. And what's that action? You've been for a year telling people to vote. Well, for more than a year, actually. You've been telling people to vote in Texas. And unfortunately, Ted Cruz will be right back in office because you know what? At the end of the day, this is the kind of things that happens. If we're not paying attention, it's not top of the news cycle for us, and after a while we get numb to it, right? And then also allowing others to kind of just jump in and sway us just slightly. And if you're swayed just ever so slightly, this is when the shift of power happens. It's never an abrupt shift. It's a slight shift. And you've been watching this shift. You've been paying attention. You've watched the shift of power happen ever so slightly. And then all of a sudden, where did this come from? It's been right there the entire time. Right there.
Yeah, I think when you think about politics as usual, if you look at what a lot of the GOP has been doing over the last 5 years, and a lot of the Democrats and liberals were just like, this is so wrong, and right? But part of me says, why not just play their game? When you have control over the House or Senate, you just make things happen, regardless of the rules. You think about the Eric Garland situation, how we let the Republicans got a chance to bully it and say that's not going to make it happen. And so Barack's like, okay, cool. But then Trump comes in and is like, I don't give a shit. I'm doing what I want to do. And he makes it happen. Right. And I think stop playing the defense, go on offense.
Well, there was talk of going on offense and I think they call it stacking the Supreme Court and putting more justices, which once I heard at first I'm like, well, why would you do that? And then I heard the argument of when there were this number of justices now, right? What's it, 9 now?
9.
So when it was 9, this was the number of people in America. Now that there are this many people in America, there should be more. And I kind of agree with that in that sense, but then at the same time I go, well, if you stack it this way, then what happens when you have the next Republican president? Are they going to add more and say, well, there are actually more people than we thought, so we do need to add more? And if we play this tit for tat game, then that's dangerous too. And I think really and truly what we need is going to be something a lot bigger than that, a lot better than that. And it's the thing that neither party wants to do, compromise. And everybody's sitting on their gang line, holding the line, and this is the war that's happening. You keep hearing about this talk of civil war. It's been going on for a long time between the Democrats and the Republicans, for a long time. The Republicans being the bullies, Democrats not being strong enough to be able to do what they need to do, and at the same time, you can't find any common ground, and that's a problem. Now, there's one guy in South Carolina, Joe Cunningham. I don't know if you've seen this. He is running for governor, right, against Henry McMaster's, and he said, there should be term limits. He talks about geriatric politics and saying that there should be term limits and age limits, right? And he goes, you've got people who too old that are running our country right now. And you're right, you've got lifetime politicians who are way past their prime and still making decisions for the next generation coming. And I get it. You do need age and wisdom in these positions of power. But like he said, if you're an airline pilot, you've got to be retired by 65. Federal law enforcement officers, their retirement age is at 57. There's no retirement age for judges in South Carolina, 72. But there's no retirement age for a politician. And you see a lot of the young guys saying this coming up. The problem is that if the rest of the young people aren't voting and trying to institute this age limit and these term limits, will this ever change? Because are these old school values that are now coming back into play?
I don't know. You figure if you apply his logic, then there would be no Bernie Sanders. There'd be no Joe Biden for president right now. Trump couldn't run again, thank goodness. But you look at a Bernie
works.
and say that Bernie might have been one way in the 60s. Might have been one way in the 70s, in the 80s. And Bernie, I feel, evolves as an old man. He still listens and tries to energize the young vote by listening to what young people want. Now, that was to his detriment. That's why he didn't get elected, because it was all this stuff, right? But at least he took the time to
Bernie tried to give away the country.
Yeah.
Here, take it all, goddammit.
Yeah. But I mean, at least he changed. So I do think that you could be a politician beyond 70s, but I don't think you should be a judge till death. I don't think you should be able to be a Supreme Court justice forever, because then it can bring balance back to the system. Because to your point, if you wind up padding the Supreme Court with 7 Republicans and 2 Democrats, nothing will ever sway to the Democrat side, ever. Right? And so if you constantly are able to change that out, even if you change it with younger Republican Supreme Court justices that maybe have a different opinion than Kavanaugh and Amy Barrett. So I could see both sides to that argument.
Yeah, no, indeed. And, maybe this is asking way too much. Maybe we call on the prayer warriors for this one. No, let's not, because they still haven't gotten us to our 2,000 subscribers.
No, they're busy.
But really and truly, because it's going to take compromise. It's going to take compromise to get to make this actually work. And you know what? If we're striking down all these things, do we now strike down the amendments? What's next? Do black people no longer get to vote? Because if the amendments go, that means so do guns. That's probably where they'll stop. Everything after the Second Amendment will stop.
Freedom of speech and guns. We need to talk about all this other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. After 1 and 2, we're done.
Yeah.
There's a 1-2 punch. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, who knows, right? And I think you bring up compromise, and I agree, but here's where I'm doubtful is we can't compromise. Look, we can't compromise as just people, not even politicians, just people on social media and whatever else. Look at the people that were losing their mind because they had to wear a mask and going off on the poor hostess at a restaurant because the state mandated you have to wear masks to get into the restaurants. And they went and attacked these poor kids, that are working, right? Or look at just the different issues that we have. Look at the election season when you have a bunch of Trump supporters and you have a bunch of anti-Trump supporters. We can't compromise on anything. So how do we expect the politicians to be the adults in the room to say, hey, we need to do this? Because the more that we can't compromise, it's easier for them to have control and make the decisions they want to make. Again, the magic trick. The drama is happening here, but the show's over this way.
Yeah. And you know what? You're right. Politicians are supposed to be representatives of the people. Maybe they are.
Yeah.
You know what? This is America. You know what else is America? Shakira Richardson. Oh my God. She's been making strides.
Is she slowly rolling back years of progression? So like in her athletic career, is she going backwards just like America? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes. Actually, yes. Because think about it. In a race earlier this season, she came in second to Elaine Thompson-Herah. And she, I did good. I'm this, I'm ready. Good. All right, so she's on this positive track. People are like, yes, she's getting ready. This is going to be it. Now they're in the qualifying rounds for the World Championships. She doesn't make it out of round 1. She comes in 5th. The top 3 in each heat advance, and she doesn't make it out of round 1. Not that she didn't make it in the finals. She didn't make it out of round 1.
You and I talked about this the other day. I love a comeback story, and I didn't know who Shakira Richardson was until the whole weed debacle. And I started watching her because you're a big fan of the sport. And so I started watching her, and like I really wanted to see her come back, prove the haters wrong. And she didn't in her last attempt. And so this time I'm like, okay, maybe, now we get to see her step up. And she got smoked, in her heat. Now, keep in mind, she's way faster than I'll ever be or ever would have been in my lifetime. So I'm not taking anything away from her, but you got smoked. And people were like, well, let's see how she does in the 200. I'm like, I don't think she should run the 200. You get beat that bad in 100. I don't think another 100 meters was going to make a difference in the outcome of that race.
Now we're recording this on Sunday, and this is it's about 12 Eastern on Sunday, and she has yet to run. The thing about her is, like, if you're going to talk all that trash all the time, and there are people who love when she does it, then don't give the media something else to run after, like her after that race, when she got outed in the first round, ousted in the first round of the heats. What did she do? She sprinted past the media, and people said that's the best race she ran all day. Because she's ducking underneath the cameras and just running past her like, hey, that's the best race she's run all season. But you can't do that. And then this is where she really gets into other stuff too, right? Because she goes on Twitter, and after the Roe v. Wade comes down, the decision comes down, she tweets, why would I want to represent a country that has no respect for their women? The only reason that all of them exist to make these laws exist. Wow, you knew it was going to happen. It is.
She's so.
And so was the comment right underneath it. Ma'am, you finished fifth with a horrendous time before the Supreme Court ruling. I'll be waiting to see you not compete in the 200, which I know you were saving your strength for. Or somebody else said, hey, come and represent Jamaica. To which somebody else replied, Jamaica good. Leave her right where she is. Thank you very much. Or I like this one. Ma'am, now you know that law passed after you failed to qualify. To which somebody else said, she felt this result coming from last week. Those races were ran in protest.
Well, here's the deal. I would have more respect for her if she just took the L and just said, hey, I got some more work I need to do on my start. I didn't start the way I normally would. I didn't come out the blocks the way I normally would. So me and my training team, we have some work we got to do. But right now I'm going to be focused on the 200 and leave it at that.
If she would just stay off Twitter, put down the Twitter fingers, and work. Stop worrying about the fame. And let's go ahead and let's get to winning. Everything else follows when you win. Question you asked me was like, is she done? And I'm like, I don't want her to be. Now, I don't want her to win because I hate what I'm going to hear when she wins. If she wins. Because I told you. I don't want to hear that shit, right? I don't want to hear that shit. If you're not going to talk all that shit when you're losing, I don't want to hear that shit when you're winning. But why she's good for the sport and why I want her to be in contention and be a part of the conversation is because she's good for the sport in the sense of she brings eyes to the sport. If she was in the Olympics, if they had put her on the 4x100 team, do you know how many people would have been watching? Now, she would have still gotten smoked, but you know how many people would have been watching that 4x100 meter final in the Olympics?
Okay, but she puts eyes on the sport. But do you feel it's for the right reason? So when she first came out, it was more about her being able to compete and all that. And then the whole marijuana thing happened. And the focus was all on that the whole time, and her fault included, right? Mm-hmm. The focus was on all that. And then you start paying attention to everything she would tweet, everything she would say. And so then when she loses, of course she says all this stuff. So I'm still here. I'm still fourth in the world. I'm like, actually, we just watched that race. You're not. Fourth.
I'm the sixth fastest woman ever.
Yeah, it's like, so.
Matter of fact.
Is she really good for the sport?
This is one race. I'm not done. You know what I'm capable of. Count me out if you want to. Talk all the shit you want. Because I'm here to stay. I'm not done. I'm the sixth fastest woman in this game ever. And can't nobody ever take that from from me.
Yeah, they already took it from you. It's already been. You got pickpocketed, jacked, the whole thing. It's been taken, but
It's been tooken.
yeah, it's been taken from you. But I mean, if you look at all of the other, you didn't have that type of energy from a Flojo, Usain Bolt, Gatlin, Tyson Gay, all these different folks. There wasn't any of that deal. So like, is she good for the sport? Now, again, I want to see the young girl do well. I don't wish ill will on anybody, but go out there and win, and then talk all the trash that you want to. And then to your point, I love the fact that you got players that talk trash and win, and you got players that talk trash and lose, but they still talk trash. Draymond Green, right? He's great trash talker. But he's the same Draymond whether he wins or loses, but he backs it up on the court. She needs to be able to back this stuff up on the track.
Exactly. That was The Rock's character when he was in WWE, was win or lose, The Rock was going to come and let the smack it down on your candy ass. He was going to tell you that over and over again. Even when he lost, he was going to get up and still talk shit. And if you're going to do that, then do it. But you're right. And you know what? Usain Bolt was definitely one of those people who brought eyes to the sport, right? But it was because of what he did on the track. And yes,
right.
Was he confident? Yes. Was he overly cocky? No. And that's where the difference is between her and somebody like him.
Bolt, to me, is like any other Jamaican or Caribbean person I know. Cocky. But they still backed it up. Everybody I know from the islands is cocky as shit.
We're not
No
cocky,
disrespect.
we're just confident. We're not cocky, we're just confident, okay? In the words of Yanni and Terrell back at UTSA, we're not cocky, we're just confident. Confident we're better than you.
I don't recall a young Terrell saying those things.
Yeah, whatever. Roll back the tape.
So glad there was no social media back in the 90s.
Jesus Christ, for real.
We'd be deleting a lot of people and a lot of pics, a lot of things. Delete.
Clear the history now.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Hey, don't forget, we're back here on Sunday, 90 Day Fiance. Then, of course, next Monday, audio. Tuesday, video on YouTube. And, it's going to be 4th of July week, which means San Diego returns on the 6th, on Wednesday. Will we be back for that? That's up to you.
Probably
We've
not.
got a week and a half to get everything together. You can do it.
It's a lot of prayer warriors. There's a lot of prayer energy that has to get used up.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not seeing it. I don't believe it.
We shall see. I'm Yanni Root.
I'm just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yanni Root, at Just Terrell, and at RGRT Pod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit you find on the internet. We'll talk about it on the show.
It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.